Hello and welcome. This is Sherry with Heart and Soulful. I'm back in the studio today, and I have a quick show and tell of the current spread that I am working on before I move forward. So if you've been following along, I'm working on my altered book, Altered Reader's Digest Journal, and this will be episode number 9, I believe. So if you are brand new to my channel, welcome. I will put a link to this entire playlist down in the description, along with a couple of other video links today, because I've done previous tutorials on a couple things, and so I'm gonna just put links to those videos. So this is kind of what it's looking like close up now that I've added some cards. The last video I showed how I made this kind of mountain scene. It started out as 2 corner pockets, kind of like this. And then I kind of visualized that as mountains and went from there. So at that point, I had not put any kind of detailed cards or journal cards or anything like that on it. So I've just done a few. I may do more as far as decorating later on. But for right now, I just thought I'd show you where I'm at before I move to the next page. So to start with, on this side, I've added a couple of gears. This one is Tim Holtz gear. This one, I had done a bunch of gears and showed them back in the grunge, the Bodhi journal that I did the last series. And that's just one of the ones that was rusted. And I just glued them down with art glitter glue, but just on the bottom halves so that it would still be a little tuck for a little card. And then this little card is the wood thrush card that I showed, I think, in the last video too. And it's just a little Tim Holtz from the, I think, Field Notes ephemera pack. So that's that little guy. And then I had created 2 pockets here. And so I've just made with some of the scraps. I showed some of the papers that I used for collaging my mountains in the last video, and I just took all the scraps that I had and just used those for my journaling cards. So I ended up with this little bit and just made like a little notepad with just some little scrap, out of my scrap box of papers that could be written on for journaling. And then I've shown this little trick in my some old videos. When you do your binding, and this was just done with embroidery thread, if you leave your tassels kind of long to start out with, you have a lot more thread to work with when you tie it off, and you can make a tassel just out of what you've tied your knot, after you've tied your knot. And so what I do is I've just taken all of my plies. I was working with 3 ply of my embroidery thread, and so I ended up with 6 pieces of thread. And to make those into its own needle, because I hadn't left them long enough to actually put a little needle on and all of that. So I just use a little bit of bead fix. You can also use super glue. And if you just put a little tiny bit on the end of your thread, which in my case was a little longer, that will make that end hard, and then you can feed it through your little tiny beads. So I've just done that and made kind of with some turquoise. And then that one will go in this little pocket here. And then on this side, I did the same thing. This was just a scrap from the other part of that paper, one of my papers that I had painted on my jelly plate. And then I just did a decorative stitching, again with embroidery thread. And again, it's just a bunch of little scrap pieces. Some of them fold out just so you have, room to journal in. So that's another little mini book. And then this, I decided that somewhere I wanted kind of to do some feathers or something. And so I have an old video that I will put a link below where I show how I resin natural feathers. So these were all real feathers. And then with my jewelry stuff, I had used my jeweler's grade resin so that they're like little hard tassels. And then just use some turquoise and different beads on my little bronze hand-forged bookmark. So it will hang. I really liked it with my mountain theme, but it will actually just, hang like this over the back of my book as a tassel. And I thought that looked good. Since I'm going to do my whole theme of this journal is going to be things with wings, I thought some feathers would be nice. So that's my little my little tassel. And then here I just, I used that polka dot paper that I had said I really liked for a journal card. And then again, this was just another scrap. And then the moth was just from a Tim Holtz ephemera. And then I just used some of my sparkle, my sheer shimmer that I use all the time. And it is this one again. And I just used that, and then I embossed it with clear embossing. And then this again is just another Tim Holtz little card. And then you can write on the back. I've added some coffee stain paper to the back. I wanted to keep it kind of simple because I really want to still see my trees and things, but I wanted lots of places to write. This one I haven't decorated at all, but it was just another piece of paper that I had painted with the gel plate. And again, space to write on the back. And I may decorate that one up a little bit more, but I kind of like how it looks, just seeing that little corner out. And then I had created, even though this was my original pocket, these mountains, maybe I should take these out so you can kind of see where my original mountains were. I had added the second row of mountains so that I had an extra pocket. So there's 2 pockets. And so for this one, I also cut it along the top so that it looked like another part of the mountain range. And then I just, again, took my, this was that piece of paper I showed it in the last video. It was just a piece of cardstock. And I had used different sprays just to kind of give it that effect. And so I thought that was a nice background. We've had a lot of fires here over the summer. And so this was kind of reminded me of all the fire and smokiness. And then the tree stamp again. And this one, here when I did the trees, I did them on tissue paper and then decoupaged them on. These I went ahead and I went and just stamped straight onto this paper. I just kind of wanted to try a couple of different things. So on this one again, I did with black and the black soot and the walnut stain colors, just to kind of give it a little variety. And then this was another scrap just of the painted papers I had that I thought, looked like maybe grass or rock kind of thing. And then again, some decorative stitching by hand on this one. And to get my holes nice and straight like this, I used my bookbinding. I've shown this before. This is from We Are Memory Keepers, and I just love this because it's just a little bookbinding guide. It comes with the little wool case and little instructions for different stitching and the little pokey tool that you need. So I just used this just to kind of turned my card as I needed to, just to get my line, my holes nice and even. And I'll put a link to that also in the description. And then just some more paper to write on. And again, some more of that dot just as a card. And I may decorate that up more too, but I just kind of kept it simple for now. So that goes there. And then I have another one on the other side, same thing. This one I did just playing around again. I did darker trees. I did the lighter trees in the back with just the walnut stain. Because I wanted to kind of give that feeling of depth and far away. So I used the lighter color, and then I used the black and the brown in the front. And then I didn't even go all the way to where my little tuck was. And then I just used my dauber and kind of did some blending ink there too. So I was just kind of playing around with some ways to use that one stamp that I had used before, and it was this one. I did find it was part of a kit, so I did put a link to that, and I will again. But this was the stamp, and on this one you can see I didn't ink the whole bottom of the stamp because I didn't want that straight line, so I just inked the trees, and then that way you were able to get that kind of layered look a little better. So I just playing around with some different, practicing. And that goes there. And then this was a pocket here that I needed to make. My book is getting so full, I don't even know how I'm gonna, be able to open it, but we'll see. So I had the idea, I didn't use the spiral. I had the idea then of, instead of butterflies and things, to do an eagle or a falcon or something like that, hawk. And so I came up with this early this morning, and it's just a big journaling card. And the photo I actually put together, I actually took this background photo and I translated it into sepia just by manipulating in my computer, just in my regular computer photo preview. I use an Apple, and so in preview you can adjust color and size. So I just turned it sepia in that, and it's really, so it makes it look like an old photo, but it's really kind of hard to tell. But I live right here at about 5,300 feet. And this little crater looking thing that's kind of blurry now because I had got a little too much of my spatter there, but there's a little crater looking thing there. That's actually Lake Tahoe. So my husband and I this last year, maybe 2 years ago now, actually hiked up to the mountain that we look at from our house, and it's a little over 10,000 feet. So this photo I was able to get from the top, the peak of that mountain, where I could see where we live and Lake Tahoe. And so I just love that photo. It's really kind of doesn't probably mean much to anybody else, but it was just kind of a, something we had done. The eagle in it is a photo of an eagle. That eagle was not there in my photo. I photoshopped it in to my photo. And so that way I kind of got my eagle in there. It looks like an old photo. And then I just took my scraps again. I even had a scrap of my trees. I didn't stamp this at the time that I did the card. This was a scrap where I was practicing to see how good I was going to be able to stamp directly onto these cards. So I had a little scrap, and I just went ahead and put that in there, and just all my little pieces I had left from this page, I went ahead and just made a little frame for it. And then this again was one of the little circles I cut out from this little notepad. So it was just all with leftovers except for the photo, which, is something that I just made up. I'm not good at drawing or anything like that at this point, so I thought I didn't trust myself enough to even try tracing one. So that's my share for today. Just a little quick show and tell, and I am gonna move forward slowly but surely on the next page. Is going to be a double pocket, and I'm getting so full of things in here that my pages aren't even laying flat anymore. But then I'm to the heart, and then the rest I'll finish. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed that. I'll give you a little close-up look here, and then I'm going to continue on. So have a great rest of your day, and I hope that you get to make something. Bye.